Now, welcome to another weekend ramble. Where this time, what do you got for us?
We're going to kind of talk about some of the pitfalls of Disney Plus and how they're falling behind in the streaming wars.
You mean just based off our kind of subjective opinion
Yes.
instead of just
That's why
any?
it's a
Okay.
weekend ramble. It's not
Yeah.
exactly all factual, but it is a lot of observations.
I am going to guess what brought this on is us just watching a couple minutes ago, actually, before we even sat down. We watched the Monarch Legacy of the Monsters trailer.
It's just Legacy of Monsters, not The Monsters.
Oh, well,
Jeez, it's like when I kept saying The Way of the Water
yes.
with Avatar, so I have to make sure I get it right this time. So
Or
it's Legacy
Rise of the
Monsters.
Skywalker. Like, everybody was getting that wrong when we
Rise
first
of
announced
the
it.
Skywalker.
Yeah, whatever. So yes, Monarch Legacy of Monsters.
Thank you.
We just saw the trailer. This is an Apple
God.
Plus streaming show that will be in the same universe as the movies are, the recent
Yes.
movies, yeah.
It's
And
going
it
to have
looks,
two multiple timelines are supposed to be going on at the same time. One in the past, like the 1950s. One like 2015, shortly after the
movie,
Godzilla
yep.
San Francisco attack. I'm floored by how just good it looked.
It looks movie quality.
Godzilla looks great. They didn't spare any.
Spared no expense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did so good. He looks good. He looks like he does in the movies.
Now, granted, we do not know how much Godzilla or monsters we will see in the. Something tells me we're not going to see a ton of them, right? I mean, nobody should be
We'll see.
expecting we're not expecting like the movies where it's kind of
The
not
trailer
50-50,
was very
but-
chock full of monsters.
Well, sure, but it's also a trailer. I'm not trying to say I don't think there's going to be plenty of monsters or that it's going to be bad and it's kind of a bait and switch kind of thing. I'm simply saying it is going to be on television. It's going to be I don't know how many episodes, or not television, but streaming, kind of the same
I
thing
know
these
that the
days.
press got 5.
Okay, so 6,
But
7,
I
8
don't know.
episodes maybe. So in other words, there's going to be a lot of story, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Not always just monster action. Like the movies kind of, have their fair share of monster action.
They do, but they also have their fair share of story, which it
They
feels
do.
like this is just going to be pretty much
Which
movie
is
quality.
Yeah, sometimes it's been so weird with the MonsterVerse movies. Some people kind of like too much humans, some are like not enough story. So I'm going to assume this is going to be a lot of humans, a lot of story, but I'm okay with that as long as we still get a good share of monster. But that's not even what we're meant to talk about here or want to talk about here, I think.
No, we're going to talk about Disney Plus and how I feel like they're falling more and more behind.
How they don't look as good as other streaming services, just
No.
visually. I mean, just the Marvel and Star Wars shows, when I compare them to what I've seen on Netflix or Apple, has been amazing. I think everything I've watched on Apple has been good and high quality.
We watched Silo, Severance, Foundation.
We started to watch Foundation. Yeah,
Started. We haven't finished. We've been watching it though. I think that's it.
I
That's
think
the
that-
big
yeah,
things we've watched
That's
so
the big
far.
things, but they all have looked high budget. They've all looked good. They've all been
The writing and the storytelling has been on par.
like
The
Silo
worlds
was
feel
really good.
very
Yeah.
complete.
Yeah, Severance also was just. I mean, not necessarily like in the same genre as Star Wars per se, but just very interesting. Keeps you hooked the whole time.
Right, and it feels like I don't feel like I have a lot of issues with the world that they've made.
No.
It feels like it would work, in its own universe
Sure.
type thing. It's not like you watch it and you go plot hole, plot hole, plot.
No,
you
not
watch
at
it and you're
all.
like, yeah, I feel
Pretty-
like they could
pretty tight
somehow
writing,
make
yeah.
this work.
Yeah.
And then you hear things about, we talked about this yesterday, how Disney Marvel section is now like sending things back to the drawing board.
Yeah, this kind of is a carry-on from yesterday's video where I kind of ranted a little bit about getting frustrated with how they approach things. Like, how do you not have game plans? How do you start to produce a show and then people watch it and are like, no, this is terrible.
Wait, they making a Daredevil show and then they turn around and go, oh, well, it looks like we're writing a legal drama. This is supposed to be
So
something like how popular the Netflix version was.
So the reason it's 17 episodes is because it's just Law and Order.
Law and Order, Daredevil VU.
Yes.
I would say that Disney Plus is even starting to fall behind Netflix.
No, definitely behind Netflix. Like One Piece, for example. I keep going back to that one. Like, I loved everything about that. How it looked, how fun it was, how lively it was. There was just so much to really love about that. Yet it was very serious, very grounded, very dark at points. Violent certainly in certain areas.
Netflix went through a phase where they were just trying to churn out content. And I think projects suffered. We had that season of Stranger Things, which I think everyone kind of was like, what was that?
Yeah.
And then the last season 4,
was really
good.
Yeah.
It's like they
Movie quality
realized
again.
that they were falling off their promise of quality content and just making content. and they flipped a switch and they said, you know what, we gotta make projects that people really like.
It's like everybody but Disney got the memo that you got to up your game and produce like truly quality content if you're going to survive the streaming wars here.
Right, in the age of the internet, I don't have to watch your show to find out if people think it's good.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And I'm not going to waste my time watching things that everyone says is bad.
Here's the thing I try to do. I try to avoid reviews of things before I know I'm going to watch them because they will influence how I feel about them. Mm-hmm. Like, if I watch a review and they're like, well, this, even if it's a non-spoiler thing, which is the only reviews I'll usually watch, and they'll point out something like that they thought was wrong with it, I will then go into the show looking for that problem. Mm-hmm. I tend to avoid reviews, but it's the same thing. Like, if people tell me to watch this because this was really good or they enjoy that, I will go into it watching it and, seeing what they saw and appreciating it. But if somebody tells you it's bad, you will look for the things that other people said are bad.
Well, and Netflix got even smarter with the fact that they've opened themselves up more to foreign projects than they ever have before. Things like Squid Game opened people's eyes to an entirely different culture of TV products.
Series, whatever.
Squid Game's popularity on Netflix was monumental for their platform. Because, first off, how many people have watched Squid Game off the bat just thinking it's a foreign thing? Not as many.
Some do.
But the fact that it was so good and the word of mouth on it was so great, everybody wanted to watch Squid Game. From the popularity of that show, they have gained a whole new genre that they are now really pushing into. Anime has gotten huge on Netflix.
Yep.
K-dramas really have taken off on Netflix.
Dramas, yeah.
Yes.
For those uninitiated.
Even their live-action animes, they realized they did a horrible job with Cowboy Bebop. What's the next project that comes out? One Piece? Perfect.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, yeah.
Right.
Not being a fan of it before, but I thought it was amazing, and I didn't even touch Cowboy Bebop because everybody I'd heard said it was just garbage.
Just garbage, yeah. Everyone said it was garbage, so I didn't want to watch it either because I don't want to tarnish my viewing of the original material.
Sure.
Disney hasn't gotten the memo. They just churn out reproductions, reshoots, this, reboot. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just watched the Haunted Mansion that they put up on Disney Plus. I know they shot it out for the movies first. And while it was okay, but I wasn't impressed. I was more impressed with the Elemental show than I was with Haunted Mansion because Haunted Mansion was so predictable. It was so formulaic. I was like, you got to break the mold and reinvent it before you can just keep pounding out the same stuff over and over.
Yeah. Well, I got asked a question on my, I get to do the questions, the lightning responses, and somebody asked me, is part of the problem that Disney kind of looks at it as content instead of trying to create things? And possibly. I actually think that is part of the problem. I think that's a big part of the problem. Everything is just carrying on your franchise, carrying on. This is the next piece of the story or the next chapter. And it kind of loses its own sense of identity and purpose, I think.
Reminds me a little bit of the movie Menu. We watched that. It was great.
That was a good movie, yeah.
In this case, Disney's more concerned with handing you a full plate of food than caring about the quality of the food that's on that plate.
Yeah, quantity over quality, yeah. Good
Whereas
way to put it.
Apple might have less content, but the content they have put out is so good that I would not want to stop subscribing because they keep putting out good things.
Well, the thing is, it's not like Disney Plus necessarily cranks stuff out. It's not like we're getting 5 Star Wars shows and 6 Marvel. Marvel for a little while there was coming hot and heavy. But Star Wars is kind of come out at a 2 per year kind of flow. And it's not coming out at crazy speed, but it does feel like it's just churned out. This is just the next thing you're supposed to watch because you're a Star Wars fan. Kenobi was the one that really got me because Kenobi needed to be special, and it just felt like here's Vader versus Kenobi because that'll be cool.
They're just counting on a built-in audience.
Yeah, they're totally banking on that. And they're totally just banking on giving you a name.
Marvel has fans. Make Marvel. Star Wars has fans. We make Star Wars, and we will get the views because you watch Star Wars.
Yeah, because you are programmed to watch Star Wars. And
Apple makes whatever the heck they want, and people come to them.
Yeah, I know, obviously the MonsterVerse has its following, sure. But, you're pouring a ton of money into something that isn't guaranteed. It certainly isn't a guarantee. The movies haven't been, necessarily, huge blockbusters. And you poured a ton of money into this. I got to assume you had confidence in it because it was well written. That you didn't get 4 episodes deep like they did with Daredevil and go back and watch and go like, why are we even making this?
Yeah. Whoa, this is bad.
Yeah. Why is this a legal drama?
I even love the fact that Kurt Russell is in it.
Kurt Russell and his son,
Wyatt Russell is playing the younger version of him.
That's cool, yeah.
Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, they took their time, it looks like, with this show, based solely on the trailers.
Yes, it could turn out to be hot garbage, sure. But based on the trailer, and we've seen good trailers before that turned out to be trash, but I have a lot of confidence. I'm not just excited, I actually have confidence watching the trailer, if that makes sense.
Right. Just like, how many times did we see that trailer come up for Silo while we were watching Severance, and we're like, this is definitely on the list. This looks good.
We're watching that next, yeah. And then we did, and we're like, yep, trailer delivered.
Trailer delivered. I was intrigued, and they followed through with the mystery. And they gave us a lot of working parts, and a lot of in-depth story that made you think from week to week. And
that is the key to when you try to do these mystery box shows. And that's where, I talked about this in a video on my channel. Like that, I think that's where Ahsoka kind of fails. It's like, not everybody, but a lot of people I see like, well, that last 10 minutes, that was amazing. Mortis is, we're going to Mortis or whatever we're going to do with that. It's like, but what about the previous 7 3/4 of an episode,
Right.
Like, it didn't take us there. It was just like Mortis was like thrust upon us at the end.
And it was weird because even the Anakin episode, which I thought was beautiful and I really thought Hayden shined in it, looking back and thinking about it, it's hard to figure out what the moral was.
Yeah.
He kept saying, live or die, live or die. Okay, well, let's delve more into that's not just the easiest decision, and I feel like he kind of left a lot of that open to interpretation, and due to things like the actor strike, we don't get to hear what the actors have to say on all of that, and I feel let down.
Yeah, but we shouldn't have to have the actors explain it. Like, I understand sometimes you want to leave things open to interpretation, certainly. Like the end of Inception, for example. I brought that up in a video too. Like sometimes that's kind of the point, to make you think like, oh, what actually happened? What did I actually see? That wasn't the intent of the Anakin Ahsoka episode in the Ahsoka series. That was supposed to be a lesson that she learned that we were supposed to relate to and understand. We didn't exactly get that, I don't think.
Right, because he didn't phrase it in ways that made it easy to understand.
No.
I didn't understand about fighting to live and how important that lesson could be. It was just live or die.
We didn't really understand why she's like, I want to live. Like, at what point did we think that you didn't want to live or that you weren't ready to give up?
Yeah, I didn't think that Ahsoka was that depressed that she was willing to just give in to death.
Yeah, I mean, I understand she's dying and that, you have to fight to survive, but that really wasn't even the message either.
No.
Yeah, I've really been tempted to, over on the other channel again, do a rewrite of that episode, see what people think about how I would have approached it.
But I feel like in the streaming wars, unfortunately, Disney is falling off the wagon.
There's a reason why they're losing subscribers.
Because they aren't putting out content people want.
Well, no, they're putting out things people want
what
in
they
theory.
think people want.
Yeah, like in theory, we all want good Star Wars and Marvel, right?
But when the quality is just disappointing, why?
Yeah, like, again, Apple, some of the shows they made, they don't have Star Wars or Marvel to back it up. Silo, like, yes, it is based on a book. I can't remember exactly what it's based on, but it does have an origin. It's not just original entirely.
I'm not sure if Severance is original or not. I didn't look into that. But I suggest people watch that one. That was so good.
Yeah, but my point is the name isn't bringing people in. They're actually making quality. You see the trailer, you're like, okay, I'm intrigued. It looked good. And then you hear other people are like, yeah. I heard other people talk about Severance before we watched it. And we're like, yeah, that's a great show. Watch it. So instead of just trying to produce, actually good shows, they just rely on that brand name. Mm-hmm. And I think it is...
Disney's a household name.
Yeah, and I think it's failing. Well, Star Wars and Marvel, too. They're all brand names. They're all names that everybody, quote-unquote, everybody knows. And so they rely on that way too much, I feel like, and don't put in, other than, say, with an and or, which put in the effort. And look what happens. Look what happens when you put in the effort. Quality show. That can further your brand as well, instead of keep tarnishing it. But anyway, I think we've rambled on long enough here. So now it's going to be your turn. Take to the comments below and tell us what you think about any and all of this. Did you watch that trailer for Monarch, A Legacy of Monsters? What do you think? And what do you think is wrong with Disney Plus and Marvel and Star Wars that they don't just seem to produce the kind of content that everybody enjoys? Whatever the case may be, leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.